Okay, we are live. Okay, let me make sure that everybody can see us on here. Just waiting for this to fire up. All right, looks like we're good to go.
All right.
All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's morning for me and Donnie. It's afternoon for Mr. McCallum here, and evening for all of our friends in Europe. And for some of our friends on the other side, we're either staying up really late or getting up really early.
Yeah, this has been really special. We have people from logging in and being part of our Zoom calls from all around the world, which is really, really special. But we're honored to have this incredible, legendary World War II veteran today with us, Mr. Neal McCallum. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, Donnie.
Did you freeze?
Oh, I thought he froze.
Oh, I thought he froze too. We thought
so, Neal, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, there isn't a great deal to know, really. I'll be 94 in March coming, and I'm in relatively good health, and I live alone, and I swim about an hour and a half each day. I pretty well stay in my cocoon. I don't get out very much with the COVID scare going on. And I grew up in my first 17 years in central North Carolina near Pinehurst, the golf capital of the world. And then I went into the military in World War II, and at a young age, 17. And that's pretty much, I'm graduated from the University of Maryland. I worked and retired from the U.S. Customs Service. I worked as a technician with the U.S. Department of State in Moscow and in Helsinki in Finland during Perestroika and Glasnost. This was the time that the U.S. Embassy, the new U.S. Embassy in Moscow was bugged. And I did a year in Santiago de Chile. And so that about sums up my life. I like sailing. I've done a lot of ocean sailing, some alone and some with a group. And so that's pretty much my life. I can't think of anything else of note that people would be interested in.
In the 93, 94 years of your life. Hey, pretty interesting story. You mentioned a lot of different things there. Just curious. First of all, Pinehurst, we all know that place very well. How's your golf game?
How is my what?
How's your golf game?
Oh, well, I gave up golf for sailing several years ago. I used to, the red course #2 in Pinehurst.
I've never played it, but I wish I could.
The green fees used to be $2. But no, I think the airlines have sewed it up. But if you were to get a reservation, you would pay enormous amount of money to play on that course. It seems a bit unfair, but that's how commerce works.
Hey, you also mentioned that you worked for Customs.
Yes, U.S. Customs. I worked. I worked in the anti-smuggling group. I have intercepted many a shrimp boat that came from Colombia, and shrimp boats that come from Jamaica, laden with contraband. And
a lot of shrimp.
A lot of that. And for 3 years, U.S. Customs provided the personnel for sky marshals. This was a time when hijackers were going to Havana, and So I did that for 3 years, and I flew with Delta Airlines out of Atlanta, and then after that was done away with, and we done away with the plan, with the, I'm trying to think of the correct word, the profile. We could profile a terrorist, and so we passed some anti-piracy laws, but they eventually did away with this program because the U.S. government, the FAA didn't want to fund it, and neither did the airlines. And had we had this profile, there would have never been a 9/11 because they fit the profile. They paid. They paid. Are you there?
We can hear you, but we lost
We can hear
visual.
you.
Yes, I got spam risk. It says on my phone.
Spam risk.
Cancel. Yeah, hit cancel.
Delete.
I can say decline. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we should be back.
There you go.
You're talking about Russia. I don't know. Talking about bugging the embassy.
Yes.
See much.
So what I'm saying is that the Skyjackers, they paid one. They were on a one-way ticket. They paid cash, and they were between the ages of 18 and 51. I believe that was part of the profile. The profile had nothing to do with race or sex or anything like that,
Right.
Interesting.
So anyway, I found that to be interesting at first, but after a while, flying for 4 days in a row, I flew out to LA and then up to San Francisco and back to Dallas and back to Atlanta. And then we would go to Jacksonville, Florida, and pick up a load of sailors, take them to Los Angeles, and they would descend upon San Diego. So anyway,
Wow.
that got to be boring after a while, and so I was lucky to go back to my home base in Tampa, and I enjoyed the work. My official title was criminal investigator, and I think I was a good one because I could talk to a lot of people, criminals or suspected of that. And I could, through nuances and things, I could pretty well follow the money. And that's where you catch the big guys instead of the small mules, as we call them.
Yeah.
So would you fly on the plane with a gun? And would you have handcuffs? Would you have?
Yes, on a 747, there would be 3 of us. There would be 2 in first class as you get on the plane, and there would be 1 in a seat C-37 back.
Redacted.
Yes.
All right. Well, we got a lot of people waiting already. We got a lot of people who want to meet you, Neal.
I'm all excited about that. Meeting people. I've traveled a lot. Hopefully I have been to their country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting. A lot of people want to hear your stories and, where you were on April 1st, 1945.
Oh, I can do all of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see that hat. I can see the bill. Let's see that hat.
Yes, this hat. I belong to the 6th Marine Division Association,
Nice.
and our descendants, our lineal descendants, run the organization now. They do a much better job than what we did, and there's not many of us left anyway. So we've turned everything over to them, and they do things like this, hats, and they treat us like VIPs. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
But we love them and we love the treatment.
Excellent. Well, Austin, you want to bring some
So
people in?
we're going to start bringing in people in Zoom. Just a reminder, if you're watching the stream and you're also going to come in on Zoom, make sure you have the stream muted so we don't get echo. So we're going to start with Caleb, and then we'll do Matthew, and then Nicola. So
what was that advisory you gave?
Not for you.
Not for you. Don't worry about it. It's for the people coming in. So, all right, Caleb, you're coming in.
Oh, all right.
There's Mr. Caleb. Can't hear you yet.
Good morning.
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 So how are you, young man?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Go ahead and tell him how old you are and where you're from, Caleb.
I am 15, just had a birthday, and I'm actually from North Carolina, just like you.
Oh, bravo. That's in Buncombe County.
Yes, sir. I'm from Edgecombe County.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's a beautiful area, and I think a lot of people in America know that.
Yes, sir.
For sure. All right, Caleb, go ahead and ask him a question if you got one for him.
All right. Well, for starters, I'd like to just go ahead and say it's an honor to meet you. I was so happy when I heard that we were going to be able to meet another veteran today, and I'd just like to thank you for your service and sacrifice, sir.
Well, you're a kind young man, and I appreciate that. And I'm excited to be talking to you too. I would like to know what you say and think, and maybe I can have a good response for you.
Yes, sir.
Right on.
Yeah. Hey, Caleb, first of all, happy birthday. I know your birthday was, last week?
No, sir. It was in November.
Oh, November. Oh, okay. I sorry. I thought your birthday was just recently. No worries. Yeah.
I'm still getting used to having it.
Well, you say you just turned 15. I was like, wait a minute. I thought I just talked. Yeah. Just turned 15 3 months ago, I guess. But during the pandemic, everything's a blur. I mean, I can't believe it's already mid-January right now.
It sure is. It feels like yesterday.
It's weird.
It was like last year, January.
Yeah, right on. Well, go ahead. Ask Mr. McCallum a question.
So Mr. Neal, I was wondering what advice you could give younger people my generation, because you're part of this generation, and I believe we should always try to learn from the people who came before.
Well, that's a good question. Thank you for that. I'll do my best. I would say to learn the basics of how our country works, our Constitution, and get as much information about historical events and look for accuracy. And the basic line here is our freedom, and we have the longest Constitution in existence since ancient times in Greece, to be exact, Pericles, and that would be around the 2nd century BC. And so we have a proven Constitution, and it was based upon a lot of thinking around the world. French philosophers, English philosophers, the Magna Carta, even upon the Greeks. So we are becoming more and more representation of the world populations, and we are a self-correcting country. When things are wrong, we find out what is wrong, and we try to correct that. And through legislation and so on. And so we're going through trial and process even right now. But so I would think in terms of freedom, and to maintain that freedom, we have to have a strong armed forces, and we don't need to be belligerent with it. We need just to deter, use it as a deterrence, to let other would-be enemies see what we have, and that would prevent a lot of wars. Mm-hmm. That would have prevented World War I and World War II. But anyway, we learn from our experiences, and I know that we have a lot of young people, smart people coming online, And I know, and a lot of them, I know a lot of us tend to criticize some of the young generations because they maybe have it too easy, or they're not able to think very well for themselves, the herd instinct, things like that. But we got smart people coming online, and I think we're going to be in good shape.
I agree.
Well said. Well said for sure.
You know,
Could
you
I
got
ask him
people
a-
like Caleb with a good heart and good intentions going out there and changing the world. That's all good.
Yeah, he's a
You guys are next, Caleb.
generation. His age, 15. I mean, that's the next generation is going to carry the flag forward, moving on. So, like you said, it's important to understand history, to read and know what we stand for, and to believe in that. Freedom of speech. I mean, all of the rights that we do have, we got to keep that going forward. It's so important for the sake of our country.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Mr. Neal, could I ask him another question, sir?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Neal, I was wondering, because I've always wondered what the Marines thought. I believe it was on Okinawa when you guys had already taken your portion of the island, but the Army was having major trouble. I've always wondered what you guys thought when you realized that was the case.
I think you've asked me what I thought when I landed on Okinawa, the purpose, and was I comfortable with that?
Yes, sir.
No, he was saying, what's your take on the Battle of Okinawa when the Army was not
Being overrun, right?
Yeah, getting overrun and not really, doing their. I mean, and the Marines were doing their job. Is that kind of right? What you said, Caleb?
Yes, I was trying to ask him.
Say it again, Caleb.
Yeah.
Say it again. Say it again.
I was asking what your thoughts were when the Marines had already taken the part of the island they were supposed to take, and the Army was so bogged down and still having so much trouble.
I think you're asking me a delicate question about the Army and Marines. You wanted to know why the Army had some difficulty on Okinawa, and that the Marines had to take care of that.
So many words.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Well, now, mind you, the Army had some crack infantry divisions there. I can name them: the 96th Army Division, the 77th Army Division, the 7th Army Division, and even the 27th Army Division, which did have one regiment that they were actually poorly officered. The soldiers were great, but if you don't have good officers and good command structure, the rest of your organization crumbles. That did exist. 6th Marine Division, we did our job up north, and we thought the war was over for us. But so we had to come down and relieve them and to do their job for them. But I think that's what Marines do. But I wouldn't want to give the impression that the Army was poorly run. The Army, they had crack troops there, very good. They did excellent work. And so there's nothing wrong with having a little competition between the services that exists now, that existed then, and it's good, healthy. And so that's my simple explanation for that.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was a delicate question, and what he was saying. So so I'm like, you say it.
Yeah, let him talk. All right, Caleb. Well, thanks for coming by, man. Good to see you again.
Thanks, Caleb.
If you have one last thing you want to say.
Good luck to you in Edgecombe County.
Thanks.
And I wish you well.
Yes, sir. I wish you the best of luck too. Thank you guys so much for letting me talk. To you, Mr. Neal. I'd like to just thank you for your service, and I'd like to say God bless you, and I hope you can have great health and I'm able to talk to you again, sir.
I can see you're a great guy.
He's a
God
good
bless
kid.
you.
All right.
Have a
Bye,
good
Caleb.
day.
See you later.
See you. Bye.
All right. Bringing in Matthew now.
And
Let's see. Matthew, make sure you
Wow,
mute
that
your
is-
other stream.
wow, that is one very long delay.
Yeah. It's
That
about
delay's-
20 seconds, I think.
Wow, that's really okay.
Hey,
So
Matthew, a long delay just in case. Just
Right,
in case you're
good
gonna
to see you, sir.
cut the feed.
well,
Hey,
good to
Matthew,
see
how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Neal.
Yes. May I call you Matt?
Matt, Matthew, either one's fine. I'm
Very good.
26. I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Good morning. Where are you calling from?
Chicago.
Oh, shy.
He likes
Yeah.
abbreviations.
Yes.
Yeah,
The near
yeah.
north side.
Shy.
The near north side near Michigan Avenue.
hmm Well, yeah, I got a few questions. So I know what. Actually, recently I watched a documentary about the 6th Division. It was actually from 1945. Actually, had all the kind of footage.
Wow.
You might have actually been in it. It was all the
Wow.
old battle footage, all the old. Actually, put a link to it a few days ago, and it was interesting learning what actually happened up north. But I have at least like 3 questions. One is, you guys were told going into Okinawa, into the invasion, that you guys were expected to have 80% casualties just on the landing. How shocked were you guys when you got ashore, and how nervous were you going into shore?
Yes, I think this is true for any soldier, Marine, or sailor. When you go into a landing like that, there's a fear factor. And once you get into what you're about, that gradually goes away. And we were pleasantly surprised when we were able to land unopposed. And I can explain that to you. After Saipan, where a lot of Japanese civilians were there and killed and committed suicide, Japan knew it was going to lose the war. The best that it could hope for was a negotiated peace, or just surrender and not be occupied. But the Allies had already made up their mind. Churchill and Stalin and Roosevelt, at these meetings they had, that unconditional surrender, because if you don't solidly defeat an enemy, you're going to have to fight him again. And that's exactly what happened after World War I.
Mm-hmm.
It was all fought in France, and Germany felt that, well, we didn't lose, so we'll come back and fight again. And that's what
France, the Eastern Front, Mesopotamia, a lot of places. But
and so the 32nd Japanese Imperial Japanese Army, they had instructions to create these enormous cave systems. These are all defensive systems, and they're fighting from caves. And they're not fighting banzai attacks, like they did on Guadalcanal and Tarawa and Guam and places like that.
That's more
It was
like
the new type-
Peleliu and Iwo Jima.
Pardon me?
I was saying it was more like Peleliu or Iwo Jima, where they had similar fortifications.
Yes. You well said. Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
Got him.
And,
You don't have to run a lot of that stuff by me.
Love it.
Matthew knows his stuff.
Oh yeah. But you got to admit that was kind of like an April Fool's Day joke for you guys.
well, it was April Fool's Day.
Exactly. It had to do it.
It wasn't an
And-
April Fool's joke at all.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but you guys basically got to the Pacific just across the island in a few days, where they thought it was going to take you weeks. But fighting north, I actually learned about this. Could you describe the wooded areas in the northern part of Okinawa? Because whenever I've watched a documentary or a TV show, they mostly talk about the fighting south. What was the fighting North like at there was a mountain that you guys had to take called Mount
Yataki?
Yeah, Yataki. Yeah, that's what I saw in the documentary. What was the fighting north like?
Yeah, well, it was difficult, but why you hear more in the South, it was more difficult in the South than in the North. There were more killing zones in the South. That's where all the prizes were. And we in the Marines say that the Army chose to fight in the South. That's where all the prizes were, the airfields, Shuri Castle,
Capital,
all of that. But all this is in jest. And but the kill ratio in the North and in the South is about the same. And so there's not much difference. But in the South, there was more of it, and it involved more people. When we landed, only 2 Army divisions turned south. That was the 7th Division and the 96th Division. And the commander of the 10th Army, General Buckner, who
which
was
is
the
also
son
worthy
of
of
the
note.
Confederate general.
Exactly.
Right, he was a son, not the grandson, son. And he wanted to be an Army show. And so this is our line of thinking. And they couldn't do it. And so he landed another Army division, and they couldn't do it. And they landed even another Army division, and they couldn't do it. And so we completed the North by April 19th, officially the 22nd of April. We completed that. And you mentioned Mount Yataki. That was a hard nut to crack. A lot of people died there, and naval gunfire was most beneficial to us, and they had a lot of submarine, suicide submarines.
Yeah, I saw that. That was in the documentary I watched. The submarines also where you guys took a Japanese sniper prisoner, and he pointed out where all the other Japanese snipers were.
Yes, we did see in the South, you didn't see any Japanese, hardly. But in the North, we saw a few, but they were fighting from caves too. But I remember I was in Fox Company, 29th Marine Regiment, and our bugler, they had a lot of horses. Japanese had a lot of beautiful horses, military horses, cavalry in the North. And so our bugler got this horse, and he was given a Japanese prisoner to take back and to like division headquarters to be debriefed. And so he took the horse, he got on the horse, he gave the prisoner his pack to carry. And he told, we had 7 months of training on Guadalcanal, intensive training. I was so happy to get away from that devilish place and full of diseases. And so anyway, we were taught a few phrases in Japanese. And one of them was susume. That means forward march. And he's on this horse, and he said susume. And that stands out in my mind, But these animals were beautiful, and they were well groomed. And the Japanese had vets and all kinds of things, So the North also had terraced on the mountainsides. They were like terraced farms, gardens and things, and of course a lot of rice paddies, that kind of thing. But and we put in safety a lot of Okinawan civilians, and we actually had provisions for them and organized them into groups.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was interesting. That was also in the documentary. Talked about schools and had all these little kids coming up.
Absolutely. I'm amazed at the logistics for all of this. I can describe to you when we left Ulithi and the Carolines, that we had 2 days there, and we actually played softball and got drunk. and on hot beer.
Hot beer.
And when we left there on the 27th of March, and now we're going to land on Okinawa on April 1st. When we left there, in convoy, there was a convoy coming from the Philippines, and there was a convoy coming from Hawaii. And they were all laden with everything, logistics, ammunition, oil, gasoline, and we were escorted by aircraft carriers, the baby escorts, baby carriers, we called them, baby flat tops. And that was all exciting for me. And in total, I think we had 1,800 ships at Okinawa. These are warships, ships of the line, and logistical ships, troop ships, land and dock ships, all kinds of vessels. It's incredible what we did and how we manufactured all this and transported it 4,000 miles to the Pacific. Amazing.
Wow.
So Battle
Man.
South on the Battle of Sugar Loaf Hill, when you guys got south, replacing the 96th Army Division, which had gotten battered at Kakuzu, what was I know, I just wanted to thank you for that. I know that battle was hard on you guys. I know you guys lost a lot of guys after attacking the hill and exchanging hands 11 times.
Well,
what are some of the things that you remember most about the battle?
Well, leading up to Sugar Loaf, we went online and we went through that fear factor that I mentioned before, on the landing. And we had to work through that fear factor, and that soon goes away, and you gain confidence as you
I'm guessing seeing the wounded Army guys coming back also didn't help with the fear.
I think you're referring to the 27th Division as they came north.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there were a few catcalls.
No, not catcalls. I just mean like seeing the wounded coming back and seeing how battered these guys were, and now you're going in to replace them.
Oh, that was not promising. Before I went online, I saw a truck. I'm going to call it a deuce and a half truck. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And there were Marines on there from the 1st Marine Division. I would say there were 3 rows, three stacks of Marines on top of one another. And you see the blood dries quickly. They were wrapped in ponchos, and you see contorted legs and eyes, and now we're going up to Okinawa, where they just came from. They were actually to the left of Naha and to the left of Sugar Loaf. And so we talk about the fear factor again. I did some very serious things. I was mesmerized when I saw that. Some NCOs had to make us move. Well, we just stopped and looked at that. Terrifying. But your training takes over. You have to do what you have to do. And so I was only in the last 3 days, the final 3 days for Sugar Loaf.
What are some of the specifics you remember about the battle itself? I know the 22nd and the 29th.
4th and the 29th?
Yeah, they got just battered.
Well, I remember mostly firing 60 millimeter mortars and also candles. We fired candles at night. And I saw I was back from Sugar Loaf Hill itself about 150 yards. And we call that the main line of resistance, MLR. And we all had heavy weapons there. And our fighting troops were behind us. And they were behind us because the Navy and the Air Forces, they were bombing Sugar Loaf, And then when they got through bombing and doing all that, then our infantry platoons come up and they invest the hill. Now, there's very little room for maneuver, to outflank. That they're inside a cave, so you have to dig them out. You have to blast them out, and it was relatively easy. We took it 11 tons, but we're not quite sure whether it was 10 or 11. But it was relatively easy to get to the crest of the hill. We call the slope of the hill that you're facing the reverse slope, and the slope on the other side of the hill is called the forward slope. And so the reverse slope, we had no problems, but it was a fight for the crest of the hill, and it was a grenade fight. And they would come out of the caves and throw grenades and go back into the caves and so forth. And so it was just kind of like attrition. And we were actually outnumbered there. They had quite a reserve there for a while, but eventually we caught up with them, and Marines had to drop, put in charges into the caves and the frontal part. And that's kind of a dangerous undertaking. And so what really turned the tide there was the Imperial Army commander there. He wanted to reinforce them, and our artillery caught them at night, and you couldn't walk for dead Japanese bodies afterwards.
Wow.
Matthew, I think we're going to move on to the next one now. We've been
very good questions.
Yeah, I know,
Matthew.
awesome questions. You really got them going. Like, I'm mesmerized by everything you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I just remember this. I've always heard about this battle from. Well, I don't think he's around anymore, but Jack Houston, who used to appear in all the documentaries from the 22nd Marines.
Right, they were our sister regiment, and they were decimated. We relieved them.
He talked about
and 4th Marines relieved us.
He talked about Major Courtney's charge up the hill. Basically, the term he used was a bonsai charge of his own. And then after Courtney went down, he talked about getting to the top of the hill and seeing all this logistic stuff going on. And then the hill just blew up on top of him. And then
you're pretty well informed. Yes, that's correct about Major Courtney. People do heroic things. We had excellent officers and NCOs. Although I was a young 17-year-old, no battle experience, I was well trained. I can tell you that, 7 months in Guadalcanal. But your training takes over, and but let me say this about any battle. Historians try to be right about the battle in a linear fashion and try to make it logical. But that's almost impossible, because you take 2 Marines or 2 soldiers describing an action, they will have different views and so forth. And so that's why we get so many different stories about the Sugar Loaf Hill Complex. There were 2 other hills. That is what made that complicated. If you were on Sugar Loaf, you would get fire from the crescent, or we call that also Half Moon, and you would get fire from Horseshoe. So we were always under fire, if you approach the hill.
So interlocking fields of fire they would set up.
Yeah, we were enfiladed.
And what your guys' operational status was?
Right, and
I was going to
then
mention,
we try to get, when we go back, we get in defilade, where we are protected.
I was also going to mention the tactics used on Okinawa were described as a corkscrew and blowtorch method, which was every cave, every pillbox, every bunker had to be cleared out. And that's why there's so many civilian casualties, is because that's where the civilians hid, was in the caves.
Well, yes, but in the north, I would say this: the Okinawans civilians, they moved around in day and night times. They thought they were, but there's artillery. You know, they call that the typhoon of steel. You've heard that expression. They're talking about artillery is firing. We beat them with artillery. We beat them with our armored tanks, flame-throwing tanks. But when you move, anyone moves at night, they're subject to being hit by artillery fire. And one of the saddest things I saw was up north, was a mother holding her baby, and they were dead and decomposing. And that's so emblazoned in my mind now that I'll never forget that, you know. And they were obviously seeking safety or something. They just did not know. And of course, we didn't target civilians. I can assure you of that, you know.
All right. Well, I can talk to you for a while, sir. But
Some of the Okinawans did, freely or not, fought with the Japanese, and they were messengers. They used young Okinawans for, you know, running messages and things like that.
They were conscripted, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
The civilians.
Yeah, they had no choice. Some of them had no choice.
And you
That's
see
correct.
then you see the extreme cases in TV shows like The Pacific, where you see them using them as shields or bombs.
Yeah.
Into that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hey,
all right.
Hey,
well,
Matthew, thank you so much for the questions. And can you send us an email with that?
Guys.
Yeah, can you send us an email with the documentary that you talked about, the 6?
Sure. What's the email I send it to?
Just info@bdf.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, info@bdf.org. And we'll send it to you, Neal, so you can take a peek at it. And anyone else.
Hey, thank you, Shasta.
Or is this it, guys?
BDF.
PDF. That's Defense Foundation.
Yeah, BDF. Yeah.
BDF. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for the questions. I hope I made some little contribution. I'm just giving you a one person's view, you know, and I'm a little bit critical of some of the historians because they try to be too logical, and a battle is not about, as I say, battle is not linear.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And it's always important to get the opinions from the guys that were there that created the history.
I would also like to point out, if you're going to get information about history, and this is for anything, whether you're watching it on YouTube, whether you're watching it on whether you're learning about anything, make sure you get multiple points of view or just from multiple sources, because it does help getting all the information, and history does help you learn, because if you know what actually happened, it can prevent, like if the German people actually knew what actually happened in World War I, instead of thinking that they were betrayed by politicians, Hitler may have not risen to power in that, or even Vladimir Lenin might have not risen to power in Russia had the Russian civilians been more well educated. They would have saw that he was selling them false hopes.
Well, the problem is that information like that is sometimes limited, or it's very biased and skewed. You know what I mean? So that becomes people's narrative on what they think it is, because they're not getting the other side. And I agree with you. I think it should come from everywhere. Like, you know, just put the information out there and let the people make a decision and let them understand and learn about and what works for them.
For sure.
All right. Well, see you guys.
Matthew.
All right. Thank you, Matthew. See you.
All right. God bless you guys. See ya.
All right, you too.
Good luck, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's also good advice even for now. Any information you hear now, definitely get multiple viewpoints.
And then make your own decision.
Yeah, because I mean,
think for yourself.
Yeah.
Make your own decision.
All right. Neal, how you doing? You having fun yet?
Fine. I'm rather enjoying this.
Good.
But I hesitate a little bit when I'm responding, but because I want to get it right.
Yeah, for sure. But we appreciate your perspective for sure. All right, let's bring in Nicola. I don't know if that's how I say the name, but we'll find out. coming in. We'll see if I said it right.
Hi.
Hello. Did I say the name right?
You're on mute.
Oh, can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. It's really Nicola, but people call it Nicole.
Nicola?
Yeah. Well, that's my
Hi,
last name.
You are live with Mr. Neal McCallum. Tell him where you're from and how old you are.
I am 10, and I'm from Coal City, Illinois. Outskirts, I'm outside of Chicago. And I'd like to say thank you for your service. I'm really honored to meet you. I've never met a real, in-person World War II veteran. I find it very awesome to meet you.
Very cool.
Well, that's very kind. Would you say your first name again?
My name is Xander.
Xander?
Yes, sir.
That's a nice name. And you're from near Chicago.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
10 years old.
You sound like a very intelligent young man, and I'm really happy to talk to you, and I would be happy to answer any question that you have, and don't ask me anything you would like.
I don't really have much. I just want to know, how did you feel when you were landing onto the beaches, and how you felt when you were leaving?
Oh, that's a good question. I felt a little bit afraid, fear factor, when I landed, but I soon got out of that. And I was only on Okinawa for 49, in combat for 49 days. I left around on my 54th or 55th day. I was wounded on Okinawa at Sugar Loaf Hill, and I was evacuated by airplane to Guam. Have you heard of Guam before? The island of Guam? And I was placed in a naval hospital there. And you asked about how I felt when I left. I was very happy to leave. I had enough from combat. I had enough. But when I got to Guam and at the Naval Hospital, I saw a lot of my fellow Marines. They were already there. They had got wounded before me. And so I was very happy to see them. And I hope I've answered your question. You can ask me anything. You seem to be very comfortable, and I think you're going to go a long way, young man, Xander. I think you'll go a long way. I can tell by the way you phrase your question that you're doing well.
Thank you. Do you have any advice for when you were in the Army? If you want to inspire people to join the Army?
I would say it would be patriotic to join into the armed forces. It's a lot different today. They're much more. I say they're a lot smarter than we were. They're more educated. They have different kinds of weapons. But I think the goal of all the armed forces is to fight for our country and to maintain freedom. You know, people talk about freedom, and they throw that word around as if it was just something, just a toy, as it were. But it's a very valuable thing, freedom. And when you lose that freedom or come close to it, that doesn't make for a very good life, and that makes rooms for dictators and things like that. And I would say that if you continue on with the way I think you are, you will be able to think for yourself, and you can make your own decisions about whether you want to be in the Army or Air Force or Marines, and you will also get some benefits that maybe will help you go on to university or college and to learn a trade, or there's all kinds of eventualities.
For sure.
That's great advice. That's great advice for sure.
Absolutely.
So,
thank you.
Xander, are you thinking about joining the service?
Yes, I'm thinking about it
Do you know
when I
what
grow
branch?
up.
Do you know what
Yes.
branch?
Oh, very good. Then
The Marines, maybe?
keep yourself fit and keep an open mind, and you will do well. I think you'll do well.
He wants
Hey,
to join the
Xander, think
Marines,
about
Neal.
this for a minute. You're 10 years old, right? You're 10 years old right now. And Neal, Mr. McCallum, actually was in Okinawa at 17 years old. So think about 7 years from the day today, he was halfway across the world with a rifle defending freedom. Is that incredible?
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, we all are for sure. We all
I'm
are.
very grateful. Go ahead.
Put it there.
Go ahead, Xander. What are you going to say?
Oh, okay. I'm very grateful for this YouTube channel because veterans, I don't feel like are getting much respect anymore because and you guys are just putting them out there and letting us.
Oh,
Did we lose him?
he was saying such nice things.
Yeah, he was. Kind of froze on us.
Oh, he froze. Well, Xander, you might have lost connection there. I don't know. Oh, he was saying such nice things too.
Yeah, he was.
All right.
Sure.
Well,
Xander,
Xander,
pretty incredible, Neal. I mean, 10
we
years
lost
old.
connection with you. It was good to meet you, Xander. Thanks for coming by. It's so cool to see like a 10-year-old coming on here who's like so excited.
I thought he asked
so cool.
a good question about how you felt when you left.
Yeah.
Sure.
He certainly did for sure. Yeah, but to put it in perspective, I mean, he's 10 years old. Think about 7 years from now. Imagine like being halfway across the world with a rifle in your hand, defending freedom. It's crazy when you think about how young you were during the war, Neal.
Yes, and I was inspired by, from what I heard on the radio and from, I had 4 brothers already in the military, and people all around me were going off to join, to the forces. And so why not me,
Right.
For sure. And so like, even like what, Xander was saying, like this channel, I mean, we created this for one purpose, and that is to honor you guys and to help people connect with you on a more personal level and to understand what you guys went through and understand that the world we live in now is because of you guys. And, that's the only reason we really exist on here, is to help people understand that. And
I see that. And I commend all of you for what you're doing. And I'm for this. And it's a good thing.
For sure. One person asked in the chat here, have you ever written a book?
No, I've
it's such a vivid memory.
I've written a few chapters just for my family, for my grandnieces and nephews and things like that. And then I read it and then I rewrote it. And I didn't like that, so I keep but not a book. No, and I don't think that I really have anything to offer. It's already someone has already captured all these things that I'm saying.
But like you said, it's different perspectives, and it's good to have those different perspectives.
Well, I would have to have for me to write a book, I would have to have someone taking down a copy.
We'll send someone to your house and you can just lay back and
Yes.
start spouting
Let's see now.
stuff.
Not too young, please.
Yeah.
Not like a
We'll
ghost
send
rider. or something
Xander
like that.
over. We'll send Xander over to
Yeah, no,
write
it's
your
awesome.
story.
You know,
Xander will-
Neal,
yes.
yeah,
can
if you
do
think
that.
about it, like everybody sees the war through different lenses. I mean, even your comrade next to you saw it differently than the way you saw it, you know? So everyone's perspective is so different, and it's just great to get it down, you know, on paper, so we have it in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Sure.
True.
All
Yes.
right, well, let's bring in Adam now. Adam was next on the list here. And then after that, we got Nathan and Dylan. So Adam's coming in now. They've got Nathan and Dylan.
All right, I remember Adam. Hey, Adam, how you
Yeah,
Hey, how's it going?
going great. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right, you're on with Mr. Neal McCallum. Go ahead and tell them how old you are and where you're from.
Well, Neal, I just turned 18, and I'm from Cranberry, New Jersey.
Yes,
And,
from the Garden State.
What'd you say, sir?
From the Garden State.
Yes,
Garden.
sir.
New Jersey is unfairly treated sometimes. Some Americans think that Jersey is nothing but chemical dumps and things like that. It's a beautiful state.
It sure is, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. And,
yes.
My
Please
first was, where were you when Pearl Harbor was bombed, and where did you hear about it? Because I was lucky enough to ask my grandmother, who's 94, and, you know, she remembers getting the call and having no idea where Pearl Harbor was. So I just wanted to see, how, like, where were you and what was your reaction to Pearl Harbor being bombed?
Well, actually, I was quail hunting with some elders, you know, and when we came in to like a neighbor's home and for some refreshments, and it was on the radio, and I would say in the afternoon, and I didn't know where. I knew about Hawaii, but I didn't know Pearl Harbor. I didn't know what that meant, you know, and I knew it was something significant because that was all that was available on the radio. That preempted everything, and so I remember walking home, maybe a distance of about 3 miles or so, and I was trying to make sense of what was happening, and I didn't completely understand it. But we had already, in the U.S., we had already had the first draft before the war, and you were drafted for 1 year. I had one brother who was drafted that way, and he had already served about 11 months when this happened. So that ended his 1 year draft period. And there was a song that came out. It says, when the first draft, and it says, I'll be, Uncle Sam has called and I must go. I'll be back in a year, little darling. And so I knew about things like that, you know, and then I lived in North Carolina at this time, and my brothers gradually went off into the war, and well, they went to England first and then to France. But we had maneuvers. It's called the Carolina maneuvers. We had the Tennessee maneuvers, the Louisiana maneuvers. And I remember riding my horse one morning, and we had 2 farms. And on this one farm, we had, it was forested, and I saw a lot of Army trucks on our land down there. And being a little bit naive, I got the horse out, got her up, and then I rode down there, and these soldiers were shooting dice on an Army blanket in the woods. And I said, I probably used a Southern expression, "What are y'all doing on our land?" and he looked up, and he was shooting dice. He says, hello, rebel.
Oh, wow.
And I realized we're going to war, you know, and terrible. And tanks and troops everywhere, cavalry with real horses, you know, and they had trucks to haul the horses around. And they dropped dummy paratroopers on our land and so forth. I took one of the parachutes and took it home. And my mother said, take that back, you'll go to prison. And so this was,
Oh, is this
I'm realizing that I'm going to be in this war too before it's over with. And the troops that landed at Normandy, the big red one, they maneuvered on our property. I'm proud of that.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
the
That's really
29th, they nearby, they made our little town rich. They bought up everything in town, all the beer, all the coke, got all the women. So it was a exciting time for me.
Wow.
So I hope
Wow.
I hope I've
Wow.
answered that first part of your question there.
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
Great.
That's pretty
great.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I never even thought about, like that happening.
Yeah.
Doing
it's
maneuvers
crazy.
through regular towns.
Well, yeah. I mean, he had the farm there, and it was like probably a nice little landing zone for the paratroopers, or just to see, you know. I mean, and it's right there in your backyard. At the time, Neal, you're what, 12, 13 years old? 12, 13,
About 14, I would say.
14 years. Yeah. Yeah. 14
That
years
would
old.
be, I would say that was, I think that was in 41 or 42.
Mm-hmm.
They left from there and went to England first, and
Right.
then of course to Normandy,
That's so cool.
as you well know.
Wow. It's incredible.
Well, the other question.
That first part of your question, okay, I can give you lots of little trivia things.
Go ahead.
I think he has another
you got
question
another
for you.
question?
Yeah,
ahead.
one more. I want to talk about like the weather. And my great uncle was on Peleliu with the 1st Marine Division. And
Yes, my sympathy goes out to him. I know pretty much about that battle also.
And so he didn't really talk about it a lot after the war. He was actually shot in the head there and was survived, but was never the same. And you know, I never really got the chance to talk to him. But I wanted to ask you, would you rather be in the pouring rain fighting or be in like excessive heat, like in Peleliu?
Ask me the first part. That would I rather be
In like in pouring rain in combat and like really rainy weather, or would you rather have it be really hot? Like if you had to pick one.
well? I think you're between a rock and a hard place on that.
Yeah.
You know, on Peleliu, water was very difficult, and I believe the water had been contaminated. It was shipped in drums that had petroleum in it before, and they didn't scour them out sufficiently. And I've read a lot and met a lot of Marines from the first Marine Division. They were, by the way, they were on Okinawa with us too. And there's a book. It's called "With the Old Breed." Now you might have read it. Have you read that book?
No, I haven't had a chance to read it, but I know that the Pacific.
It's written by a doctor.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic book, and we really didn't even need Peleliu, you know.
Yeah.
And the airfield was never used except locally. But anyway, that was a hard nut to crack, and the troops suffered badly, and all for nil, as the way I see it. It wasn't necessary to take that island, you know. But this is all hindsight, of course. But is your uncle still living?
No, he's not, sir. He passed away in the 90s.
God rest his soul. I know what they went through, and I can identify with that. Now on Okinawa, you know, we got a lot of rain in the end there, and we were up to our waist in muck. Bulldozers even got stuck, and so it was difficult for us to navigate. And so that's not very pleasant either. And since you're in an area around Sugarloaf on Okinawa, there was so much. You were exposed to illnesses, and there were maggots around from dead bodies, and the rain made it all the worse. You couldn't sleep. A foxhole would fill up with water, and it was miserable. So that's why I say you're between a rock and a hard spot when you mention those two conditions.
Yeah.
That's a good question, though. I'm happy to try to tackle that.
No, it's great. Can you imagine in battle? Okay, we're gonna pick the weather. Let's go for yeah. It's the same thing on the football field. I mean,
rain.
Playing a football game is kind of the same thing. If it's hot, if it's rainy, or if it's windy or humid, I mean, they all suck.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never been in combat, but if I had to choose, I'd probably choose rain because I don't like that heat.
I don't know. It's tough. I mean, you're always wet, soaking wet. Moisture. I don't know. I mean, it's all bad. I mean, nothing but respect for you and your brothers.
It sucks for your weapons too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You get your rifle jammed. That's the end of it.
That's no good.
Well,
I have something for you. Hopefully, you'll recognize it from the collection. It's one of my K-bars.
K-bar.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you carried one.
May I see the handle?
It's like the leather wrapped with the peen handle.
Yes. Yes.
Is it dated?
I'm very familiar with that.
No, it's not dated, but it's USMC is really small in the front, and I think it's an early war model from what I'm told.
Did your uncle leave any relics or souvenirs behind?
Not a lot. Here's a photo of him actually getting his Purple Heart. Now at the hospital.
Oh, cool.
He has, bring it up again.
Yes, just about everyone got a Purple Heart on Okinawa, and Peleliu too.
Yeah, he didn't. He actually, whole different story, but I'll see if I can sum it up. So he obviously died before I was born. The family saved some of his letters, and I think he's obviously saved his Purple Heart. But when he passed away. So after getting shot in the head, my dad met him. He was like never the same guy. And he lived right across from my uncle. And when he passed away, my uncle had to go in and kind of clear out everything. Ends up that my uncle had to get a firearms dealer's license because my great uncle had collected over 100 of World War II weapons. Carbines, machine guns, Garands, Thompsons,
yes.
You could think of. And he kept his helmet, he kept his web gear, his Garand belt, kept his weapon. I can't think of everything else, but my uncle ended up getting rid of it, and which I know it pains me today about hearing it and not being able to see it. I don't know where it is. I don't think anybody really does, but he did bring back a lot of stuff. And
that's a good story.
Yeah, a lot of it still isn't with us, but we're uncovering a lot of it. And Mr. Edwards, actually, I spoke with Mr. Malone on the phone a couple days ago.
Yeah, he told me.
He was up here in Wall, and we were talking about my aunt going through her basement and finding stuff from her grandfather who was in World War I. We found his patches and his medals, and so it's cool to find this stuff, but it's also quite fascinating to learn about your family's history.
Yes, and it's good to maintain that and write that up and pass that on. You're single?
What'd you say, sir?
Are you single?
I am.
well, you your future children, you pass that on with just what you said. That's good. That's good info.
Yeah, sure. And one more thing, my aunt actually found my other great uncle who was in the 896th Anti-Aircraft Artillery, an automatic weapons division, and he was in the war from 1940 until 46. He even stayed for the occupation of Japan.
Wow.
And he died. He never married, and a lot of his stuff was lost. But I'd say about a month ago, my aunt found one of his scrapbooks from Anzio in Sicily.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
what,
goodness, yes.
and what was really surprising was that in the back of it, we had never knew this existed. He wrote up like an 8-page summary about what he did in the war from day
Wow.
one until almost the very end.
Oh, that's
Um,
treasure.
So I'm having a hard time like copying everything over because the PDF wouldn't work. So I'm retyping it, all of it now. And I found out that at the Casablanca conference, or whatever the conference was about the unconditional surrender with Churchill, FDR, he was actually asked, his battalion was asked to provide the anti-aircraft defense for the meeting. So that
Yeah.
was, no one ever knew about it. And again, if nobody ever
Yes.
found that, if no one ever asked him, it would have been all been lost.
Yeah, no one would have known.
It's
Wow, that's
Crazy.
great.
That's good of you to bring that to light.
For sure.
Yeah, and I couldn't let myself, have a piece of history here and let it go. It bothered me a lot. So
That's really cool.
Yes.
Well, Adam, thank you again. It's good to see you again.
yes, thank
And,
you.
If you want to say one last thing to Mr.
Yes.
McCallum here.
Thank you, Mr. McCallum. And I'm 18 years old, and I can, I have to register for selective service, but it's one thing, I could think maybe I could have done what you did, but putting that into action.
You get a
would have
good
been-
education,
Yes.
and you keep your line of thought the way you are now. Keep that going.
Yes, sir.
And you did a great job. And I mean, I'm sure I can tell you're very proud of your uncle and so forth. And you keep that going.
I will do, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Adam, thank you very much. And
My-
it was good talking to you. And yeah, get with Mr. Malone and, get that history down and definitely connect for sure.
Awesome.
Sure.
Well, thank you guys. Have a good rest of
Cool.
your day, and have fun watching football.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. See ya.
Watch Tampa Bay tonight take on the Redskins.
I know.
You mean
I don't know.
Washington State football team?
Washington's
Or
got my
Washington
pick.
football team,
I
whatever
think they
they're
will
called
pull
now.
it off.
All right.
All right, see you, Adam.
We'll see what happens today.
The Washington football team.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. Who did I say was coming in next? I think I said Nathan.
Nathan or Dylan, I think.
Nathan is next. I think this is who I think it is. I don't know. We'll find out. Nathan's coming in here. Hey, it's our friend from Ireland. He's calling in all the way from Ireland, Neal.
Oh, yes.
Hello?
Yes.
All right, we
Yeah.
can hear you now, Nathan.
Hi, can you?
Oh,
Hi.
good morning, Nathan.
Hello.
Top of the morning to you. Where in Ireland are you calling from?
Galway.
Galway Bay? Oh, wonderful.
The south of Galway.
Yes. Yeah, the town of Galway. Yes.
Yeah.
I bet you have some nice pubs there.
Have you experienced all the nice pubs yet, Nathan?
Well, I've only gone to them to watch the All Ireland final in hurling and
Ah,
Gaelic football.
Yeah.
real football, not American football.
Soccer. Talking about soccer. Not the football that I played, Neal.
Johnny played a different kind of football.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Nathan, tell Mr. McCallum how old you are.
I am 12.
12. Very good. You're very articulate for 12 years old.
Thank
Yes,
you.
he is.
Yeah, you got a question for Mr. McCallum?
Yeah. Did you ever suffer from combat fatigue on Okinawa?
That's I've never thought about that. I would say not. If you're I think you're using the, was I ever tired, or was I psychologically tired of battle?
Just fatigue, mental,
psychological.
physical, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, probably both.
Yeah.
Well, yes. As far as being sleep deprivation, we didn't get enough sleep, and we didn't get enough of nutrition and good food.
Yeah, what about overall fatigue, Neal? What about just like the wear and tear of the daily of being in battle? I think you said you were in battle for 46 days, I believe you said 47 days.
Yes. Oh, there at times of that we had rest periods. We were put in reserve, you know, for like a day or two, and then back on the line, that kind of thing. We had C rations, which was a step up from K rations, and some of the outfits got 10-in-1 rations, which we used to pilfer from other organizations. I was good
liberate, at that. To liberate.
Yes, yes. But to answer that young man's questions, yes, I was very fatigued at time. I was wondering if he was thinking about combat fatigue. You know, like having the 1,000-yard stare and that kind of thing. I doubt it if he would know about the 1,000-yard stare. Are you asking me, was I like mentally disturbed or psychologically disturbed about killing and the fighting and the struggle? Or you just asked me if I was physically tired?
The physical, yeah. Physical.
Yes. Oh, yes. Many times I was very much so. And we didn't get enough sleep. You had to, if you slept, it might be your last sleep.
Neal, what about, because I, you know, back and forth on Sugar Loaf, I mean, you know, where would you guys, simple question, like, where would you guys like go to the bathroom when you had to go to the bathroom?
In a slit trench. It all depends how distressed you were. If you had time, we would dig a slit trench. But if you were in combat on Sugar Loaf Hill, you would just go there and then. I don't think. I think the only thing you would do would be number one. I don't think.
Sometimes nature calls and you have no choice. And you know,
yes, that's true.
You gotta run into
I can tell you
that
there was no sanitation, and there were ammo boxes and debris everywhere. And of course, now there were dead Japanese bodies and Marines too, but mostly Japanese bodies because we removed our dead as quickly as possible. And there were maggots and things. That was commonplace, and it was filthy. You probably recall after the Battle of Falaise in Europe. I know you've been there, where Eisenhower closed off this killing zone, and they prohibited anybody from going there for a month, you know, after the battle was over with, because it was so contaminated from the dead, you know. So there was, Sugarloaf had that, and in the draws between Sugarloaf and the Horseshoe, and between Sugarloaf and Half Moon. These are narrow draws, defiles, I guess you could call them that. And yes, there's bodies all over there. And but I was pretty stationary in one foxhole with I had a hole for the gun too. We protected the weapon as well, the mortar.
So do you, like, after a few days in combat, do you become a little, not immune to what you see, like the death, the destruction, almost callous about what you saw after a while?
Oh, yes. I would say more relaxed. We had our confidence about us, you know. We wondered, when is this ever going to end, though, you know? And some people couldn't take it. And I was surprised by some of us who had been a little gung ho, and even guys who had been in other combat. They just couldn't take anymore, and they would just straggle. They would just run off to the rear. Not run off, but just jumble along to the rear.
Did you have sympathy for them, or were you kind of pissed off that they ran off? I mean, everyone looks at the war differently.
I was, because I didn't know any better.
Right.
I changed my tune about that later on.
Right.
But yes, I was very much ticked off. We had a sergeant that did that, and he was always talking about how in combat, we're going to do this and do that, and I never saw him again. But many of these people that went to the rear were treated and with respect and dignity, and they were eventually brought back to the line again, further down south.
Right.
I didn't see any of the guys that came back, but some of them did return and did well.
Wow.
But this was a serious problem. This was a very serious problem, and there's not too much is written about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
It is. Nate, do you have another question for Mr. McCallum?
No.
Okay.
All right.
You want to say goodbye?
Well, tell me again, what is life like in Galway Bay?
It's good. Good.
Okay, you continue your education. I know you follow your mom and dad. They give you good advice, and you're a good citizen. And the best of Irish luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Nathan, are you guys in school, or school's open, or is it still closed? Are you guys back in school, or how's that going on?
We're not going to be going back to school until the end of the month.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And it's closed because of COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta
All right.
keep
Well,
that
thank you
island
for
safe.
joining us. Yeah, thank you for joining us. You want to say goodbye to Mr. McCallum?
Bye.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Luck to you.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you again, Nathan.
Yeah. See you, Nathan.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. I don't know if it's morning out there. What time is it in Ireland right now?
I think they're on UK
8 hours, I believe. Yeah. GMT.
UK time. They're 8 hours ahead of
So
us.
8 hours ahead. Yeah.
It's about 8 o'clock at night there. He's
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah. Neal, what do you think about all these young kids joining the Zoom call and having so much knowledge about what you guys did 75, 76 years ago?
I'm impressed. I think they asked some very interesting questions.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm
it's
kind
very
of
cool.
surprised at that. I didn't really know what to expect.
You know what? A lot of these kids are not learning this history in schools, and they're kind of taking the passion on themselves. And now with the internet, you can just go on YouTube and learn. You don't have to wait for a teacher or a school to give you the information. You can do it on your own. So once you get that bug and that interest to do something, you can find out whatever you want. And I think a lot of kids are doing this now, which is great.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Neal-
correct. That one guy, one interview we had, he said that get as much information as possible, and then you can come up with you can synthesize it and come up with a good understanding of what happened.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, you have to get as much information as you can and make your own decision, not what someone tells you what to think, but think for yourselves. And with all this information that we have out there, biased information, fake information, it's up to you, your due diligence to do the work and come up with the right decision that you believe in, that you could, articulate and talk about, and the reason why you feel that way, not because, you saw it or you read it somewhere else, because who knows where that's coming from. Good advice, for sure.
I would think in some of the schools, they would gloss over this. They wouldn't give much attention to what we're talking about today.
Yeah, it's important. Awesome. Who do we have
All right,
next?
so we're going to bring in Dylan now, but we have one question from the chat on YouTube from Harper Jackson in the UK. And he asked, did you keep any of your items from World War II? Did you bring any of the souvenirs back?
Just one souvenir.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
It was on my right calf.
Oh, the bullet?
I'm a little joke here.
Yeah.
That's a souvenir.
The wound.
Yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us about that.
No, I learned about this afterwards at 6th Marine Division Association meetings. They took our sea bags and our packs, and my backpack was full of souvenirs and a piece of shrapnel that had hit me before but didn't do me much harm. And I had photographs and things like that, and my pack. All that was burned. That was all taken back to Guam and burned.
Who
And
burned it?
all my personal things that I had in my sea bag, which I had all kinds of, like on Guadalcanal, they sold these hula skirts, not like the ones in Hawaii, but I lost all that. I lost everything,
Interesting.
Was it a deliberate fire or was it accidental?
No, it was intentionally, because most of what they were doing, they just couldn't handle it, and so they had a detail of that. And I talked to a guy who was on that detail, and I just have that one source of information as to what happened to it.
Interesting. All right. Well, Dylan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
All right, perfect. You're on with Mr. Neal
We got
McCallum.
another young man here.
Hi, Neal. How are you?
I'm fine. Say again your first name.
Dylan.
Ben?
Dylan.
Oh, Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan.
All right. Tell him how old you are and where you're from.
I'm 17 and I'm originally from Hong Kong, but now I'm from the UK, or live in the UK.
Well, the UK is a rather large place. What are you near London?
Yes.
Are you live in Essex?
No, I live in, it's a small town in Winchester, which is south of London, about an hour away.
I know where it is. I haven't been there. I lived in Essex for quite a little while.
Oh.
Been all over the place, Neal.
I know. It's amazing. It's amazing. You ever count how many countries you've been to?
Well, I've never counted them, but most of them were on the government's dime.
Yeah. Yes. And even Guadalcanal and Okinawa was on the government's
That was
dime.
yes. I got paid for that too. $50 a month.
Yeah. Got paid to travel for a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, Dylan, you have Mr. McCallum here. You got a question for him?
Yes.
Yes, I've got a couple of questions, if that's all right.
Yep.
So can I just first say, Mr. McCallum, thank you for your service. The difference you've made, the freedom that we have is very much appreciated. So thank you.
Yes, and I thank you for maybe. Do you have ancestors in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I do. I
appreciate
my mother's side of the family.
Yes, I appreciate what I read about that, and I appreciate what people in Britain did for their part of the war. And that's very nice of you to make that comment. Thank you for that.
Excellent.
Could I ask you a little bit about your education school that you go to?
Sure. Yeah.
What?
A delay or something?
You got any
He's got a little bit of a delay.
questions?
Go ahead, Neal. Or
Dylan, ask a question. Go ahead. Dylan, ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let's go. Let's ask a question.
Okay. So, Mr. McCallum, I'm not sure if you were injured by this time, but when you were preparing for the invasion of Japan, I know the 6th Division was preparing for that. Were you scared? Was that, something scarier than maybe taking over like an island like Okinawa or something?
Well, I wasn't, but I felt for my buddies. After Okinawa, my division was sent back to the island of Guam, of which I'm sure you know about. But I had been evacuated from Okinawa and returned to the U.S. And I was in a naval hospital in Portsmouth, Virginia, a naval hospital. And when the landing for Okinawa was being prepared, it was called the Olympia, was the landing. And is there a question that you? Yes, I was going back to my division, and so the war was over with, and I was very happy about that. So I never returned. And
my other question was.
That's all right. We just have a little bit of a delay. Go ahead.
Yep,
Ask your
delay.
question, Dylan.
Oh, okay.
My other question was, when you were fighting the Japanese, they're quite, sneaky, aren't they? They have all these caves and, in their islands, and they could, come up on you. Was that scary? Were they a hard enemy to fight, or, were you able to handle them quite well?
Yes, you had to be on your toes, but your training took care of that. And we had a technique for attacking these caves, and we have machine gun fire on the caves, and then we have fire teams that come up outside and on each side of the cave, and then we have a demolition man that gets on top of the cave and will maybe drop an explosive in there, or we would have a flamethrower and we would put a flame into the cave. You know what a flamethrower is.
Yeah.
And so I would say it would be hairy, but we had a controlled fear. We were not wildly afraid. We were trained for this. I personally did not go up to a cave myself. I was in a mortar, a small mortar, and we fired shells, but the shells didn't do very much damage. If you were out of the cave, you would do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I would say that our training brought us through.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
What did you think about the Japanese as an enemy? Did you respect their cause, or were they sort of, they're the enemy, we've got to defeat them?
Are you say that one more time?
Just asking about what you thought about the Japanese as an enemy. Did you have respect for them, or?
No. I will give you a rather long answer to that. We were taught to hate Japanese through propaganda in the United States. What an evil people they were, and so forth. And the same thing in Britain. That they were taught about how bad the Germans were and that kind of thing. You can't fight someone that you have respect for. So I want to make that point. And so I hated the Japanese until 1981. In 1981, I was flying from either Saigon or Singapore to Japan, and then changing planes and going on with to Hawaii, and I was on All Nippon Airlines, and they asked me if I could spend an overnight there and take another flight, and I said yes. They said, well, we'll give you 1 night free in a hotel. So I asked for three nights, and they gave me 2. And so during that time, I was walking around Osaka. This was in Osaka. I didn't go to Tokyo, Narita. And in Osaka, I was walking around, and I saw these young children. They were obviously school children. They were well dressed, and they came up to me, and they said things like, "Hello, sir. How are you? I love you," and things like that. And my mind said, you can no longer hate these people. Although I fought against their grandfathers and maybe their fathers and so forth, I said, it's time to give this up, that the war is over. It's been long over. And so I want to tell you what I did when I came home. I bought a Japanese diesel car.
Turnaround.
Yes.
No, but that's funny though.
I
Neal,
like
that's
that.
funny because my grandfather fought in the Pacific. He would never, ever, ever drive a Japanese car. And he had no respect for him at all. He always drove a Ford. And that was the mentality. And you said it absolutely correct.
Yes.
That was the mentality back then. Different.
Yeah.
Yes. Eventually hatred gets you in a lot of trouble.
Right.
It's not we had our reasons for fight. Well, you can't fight a war, as I said, unless you can't respect an enemy. You can't fight someone you respect. So, so that we had propaganda films, the military and in public television, and there were signs, buy war bonds, sink a Jap ship, buy war bonds, slap the dirty Jap. And all kinds of things. These were billboard signs in the U.S.
Right. That was the time. Yeah, for sure.
And of course, they had the same thing against us.
Yeah. But now it's great, because the peace and reconciliation, once enemies, but now friends, and being able to move on, which is so important for the forward progress of the world. And peace, so yeah, well said. Hey Dylan, thank you for joining us all the way from the UK. What time is it there?
It's now 7:40, so close to 8.
Yep.
Well, right on. Well, thanks.
If I can just say, to Mr. Neal, thank you so much for taking the time to talking for us, and Donnie and Austin, it's nice to see you again, and thank you for allowing me to do this.
Yeah, thank you for joining us all the time, and keeping the history alive. It's important that you hear it right from from the vet. I mean, right there for the guy who created the history, and it's special to hear the truth and to hear it from them, and to have you on. It's just wonderful. So thank you for joining us once again.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
See you later, Dylan.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Cool. You doing all right, Neal? We got time for one more?
Neal, I haven't seen you drinking water. You drinking water?
As a matter of fact, this brings out, the more we do this, I think the more accurate I can be, about things.
Yeah. Helps stir those memories up.
Yeah, people just want the truth. I mean, it's your opinion. And if we don't talk about it, then how do we know? And then you have some writer, trying to think about what you were thinking or what you said versus just saying it, this is history, Yeah. And then, once you guys are gone, it's just interpretation. It's not from what you guys saw, straight up. So it's important to tell the truth and just be completely honest. It's a past, it's history. It is what it was,
Absolutely. All right. We're bringing Camden in now. But Neal, do you need to take a drink of water?
Well, I can. I'll take one just in case.
Yeah.
All right.
What is very precious on Okinawa.
Yeah. All right, Camden, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Nice.
All right, Camden, we just met last week. He's
Mhm.
one of our, he's new to the stream here. So Camden, go ahead. You're on with Neal McCallum. Tell him how old you are and where you're from.
I am 17 and I am from Vermont.
That's right. Well, you got Mr. McCallum here, so go ahead and ask him whatever you want.
Mr. Neal, first, it's an honor to meet you, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for your service. I know the Pacific Theater of World War II had some of the harshest fighting of the entire war, and it just really nice to see someone who fought in that theater. And I just wanted to ask you, I heard that you were born in 1927, which means you would have been around 17, 18 years old during the 1945 Battle of Iwo Jima in Okinawa, which I know you were in Okinawa. Being such a young veteran, what was it like being around others that were significantly older than you were?
It was great. I was kidded a lot for being. They called me Chick, CHIC. You know, like a young chicken.
Baby chicken.
That's. But it was great. I'm glad they had a lot of combat experience. I felt comfortable being around them. And sometimes I felt like they took me under their wing at times and helped me out and this and that. But I think I cut the mustard eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand you're from Vermont. Did I understand correctly?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, beautiful state.
Yeah, it is. I guess another thing I was wondering about is what was your mindset during the Battle of Okinawa, which I know from learning about it, Okinawa was the bloodiest battle of the Pacific Theater. What was your mindset about going into that battle and during the battle? What was on your mind?
Well, first of all, say again your first name. I'm kind of Sam?
Camden.
Camden.
Somehow
It's Camden. Camden, like
CAMDEN.
Yeah.
Oh, Camden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Camden. Yes. Excuse me, Camden, for that.
No, that's fine.
I knew that we were going to win. I never doubted we would lose. You know, we would win. And we had all the resources and also our training. I think we were better trained. Although they had been fighting, we knew they had been fighting in China and in the north of China, where they had been fighting the Russians earlier in like 1938 and 39.
Yeah.
And they transferred these troops, the Japanese troops from China to Okinawa, and they had been in war longer than we, but we had been in war by about 3.5 years before Okinawa, and we were doing well, and we proved to be. The Japanese were good soldiers. They were, but we became better from Guadalcanal onward. We became better, and we had better weapons, and we were more of them in the long run.
Yeah.
And so I felt very confident. I knew that I was fighting for a good cause, and I knew that I was fighting for freedom. We were well informed. We were not. We didn't lack for information. We were pretty well informed on what was going on in the world.
Yeah.
And we knew that a lot was riding on us. And we owed it to the people back home in the United States. We owed them what they sent us there to do. And that's exactly what we did and nothing more.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really good. I love hearing the perspective stories from the veterans because I feel like, I mean, like what you guys were talking about earlier is about like writing a book. The stories may be told from veterans, but I feel like every veteran has a story, and it should be heard, no matter like if it's in a book or just in an interview like this. And they also have different perspectives. You could have seen something that many other soldiers may not have seen at all, and you may think it would be important for the rest of the world to know about. Obviously, it's your own personal decision whether you would want to do that or not, but I feel like every story of a veteran matters, and it should be heard by everyone.
Amen.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yes.
which is why I'm so grateful for what you guys are doing, because I feel like these live streams are just so important for the younger generation to hear. And because literally every other person in this live stream, a lot of them were younger people, and I'm just happy that there's other people who appreciate history and that they want to know more about it.
We are out there. There are people who do care still. For sure.
Yeah, well
We
said.
love it. But Camden, it's so good to see you again. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, I'm very happy to see you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Camden. A pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Neal. Thank you for your service, and thank you for talking to me today.
Thank you for that.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
All right. See you later. All right. We're going to try and get a couple more people in. How you feeling good, Neal?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm not hungry or thirsty.
Yeah, it's almost.
All right,
It's
well, good.
yeah.
I don't need to go to the bathroom.
An hour and 50 minutes. Let's bring in a one or two more people
Yep. Let's do it.
and wrap it up and let you enjoy the Saturday and watch some football, some playoff. It's playoff.
All right. We got Eduardo coming in.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing today, right?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah. The Redskins.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Eduardo, can you hear us?
You never know in these playoffs, as you well know, Donnie. You would know more about that than me.
Yeah, I played a lot of playoff games, Neal, and unfortunately in my whole career, I never won one playoff game. Very, very close many times. Lost to Tom Brady, who's now with the Buccaneers in 06 or 07 it was. But I know it well, unfortunately, but not favorable.
I would think biggest thrill for a linebacker is to make a big interception and run for a touchdown and win the game.
Donnie's got a few of those.
Yeah, it's been fun.
That's why I brought that up.
Yeah, no, that's the ultimate, especially playing on defense, because we don't get to touch the ball often.
Yeah.
But when you do touch the ball, you do something with it and you make it happen.
Yeah. Big feeling.
All right, we can talk football later. We have
right.
Eduardo here. Martinez.
Eduardo, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Perfect. Hi, Neal. How are you?
Hi, is it Jeff?
Eduardo.
Eduardo, you can call me
Eduardo?
Eddie. Eddie for short.
Eddie.
Eddie.
So I'm actually a history teacher. I teach in Miami, Florida, and I actually brought in a program in my school, which and this is the first time it's done in my state, where kids get to learn about World War II the entire school year in depth.
Wow.
So it's an elective class. And one of the reasons why I decided to create the curriculum and to make it was because of people like you, Neal, and to tell their stories and to kids to actually learn in depth of what happened. Because believe it or not, our textbook are very watered down, and kids don't really get to learn about what really happened. So I am always having like veterans on, and I love the best defense. Donnie, I've been working with your people for like the past couple of weeks, and they've been helping me have veterans on.
Oh, very cool.
To my class. So it's I want to thank you, Donnie, for that opportunity to work with your people. My question for you, Neal, I teach a lot of high schoolers, and a lot of these students during this time are questioning themselves, and especially during the climate that we're in. And one of my questions is, with everything that's going on in the world, what is one piece of advice that you would give to the young people of today?
I believe a sound belief in our country and in our institutions. They will see us through. Our great documents, like our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution, and the aim of all this is to maintain freedom. Freedom is so bandied about today that it's like something intangible, but it's a very meaningful thing, and it's soon lost. It can be easily lost, and we can see one extreme, going to another extreme. And so I would say that the system we have in the United States is one that is self-correcting, and maintain our belief in our great institutions. Is that pretty much?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, because like a lot of my students ask when we have veterans on, we always do interviews, but a lot of the kids tend to ask about personal advice. So that's actually really good to know, and especially with the COVID crisis and what's going around us.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
good. It's good to hear from people like you who've been through a lot back in the day and could give advice to kids who are struggling. And that's one of the reasons why I have so many veterans on in my classes, not only to talk about the war, but for the kids to actually hear advice from people who've been through a lot and been under pressure. And it's a great thing, and I really want to thank you for what you did for our nation, because people like you saved America and saved us from destruction, because a lot of people don't realize that we were very close from losing at one point, and it could have turned around.
Absolutely. Well, I commend you for what you're doing for your students, and it's a very worthy thing, and I think it's an important thing that you're doing. And
for sure, yeah.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
No, thank you. If you ever want to come on, Neal, to my class, I will definitely appreciate you. Talk to the kids.
What part of Miami are you in?
We in Broward County, pretty much 30 minutes north from Miami.
I see. You're up towards Hollywood, as it were.
Yes, on Pembroke Pines.
Oh yes, I know where that is. Yeah.
He was like, I've been there.
Yeah, you've been everywhere.
I do live in Florida, and I did work. I did anti-smuggling work in Miami and lots of that.
But thank you so much.
I never was home. I thought my wife was going to divorce me at times. It's really a pleasure to talk to a young gentleman like him, and he's teaching values to the students. And I would advise his students to get as much information as possible, and not just one source, but many sources, and kind of put it all together. They'll come up with a good, sound reasoning about World War II, rather, and all these other engagements our armed forces have been in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mr. Martinez, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the initiative to push this and to make sure the next generation understands the past and understands the sacrifice from all those who gave us this freedom that we all enjoy today. I think so many people take it for granted what we have. Like all of a sudden you wake up and you just have freedom and opportunity and social services and all this stuff, but it doesn't just happen. I've been fortunate to travel around the world and see some different countries, and every time I come back to America, I'm just so proud and so lucky that we live in this great nation. And it's on the backs of the men and women that serve. Guys like Mr. McCallum here, who picked up a rifle and fought for freedom, and all those who sacrificed their lives and never had a chance to come back, to enjoy what they fought for. So it's important that we remember their sacrifice and we never forget moving forward.
Absolutely.
So
you hit it spot. And the same thing for me in returning back from, a tour here and a tour there. And it's great to come back to America. We got a beautiful country. We got beautiful people we are representative of the globe. We got all kinds of people here, and they make good citizens, and they all contribute.
But
yeah, no, you're right about that. It's important that we remember that we're all Americans. We're all Americans, and we all need to come together to to make our country better, and and whatever we need to do to just come together. It's important, for us as Americans to move forward with progress. But hey, Eddie, thank you very much. I know that you've been you're talking with Joe and Ralph, I believe, and helping you with with some of the veterans and things like that. And we'd love to get you more involved in an educational aspect, and maybe you can be. We'll talk about it later, actually. But I definitely love your initiative, and something that what's important to us, and one of our pillars with Best Defense Foundation, and we definitely want to push it forward. Just hoping that school gets opened up soon and we could
I'm
continue our programs.
I'm praying. Hopefully by next school year we can have these kids back. I've been teaching them online, so it's been a little difficult, but thank you so much, Neal. Thank you for your service and what you've done for our nation. Donnie, we could talk about all of this later on a future date. I have a lot of great ideas that I could share with you on my curriculum, and we'll definitely talk about that. But thank you guys again so much. Thank you, Neal.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
So, Donnie, what do you think? Should we do the blast at the end?
Yeah, why not? Let's just
because we got
kind of like that.
Yeah, there's like 12
so tell
people
Neal,
waiting.
give Neal a little heads up what's about to happen.
So
You
Neal,
won't be able to understand, but there's a lot of people. We've been on for 2 hours right now.
yeah,
We've been on for 2 hours, and we want to make sure we be considerate of your time. But there's a lot of people that are waiting in the lobby right now.
I'm enjoying this. So your time, my time is your time.
yeah.
Well, we'll certainly do it again. You've been great. It's been fun to get your perspective and some great advice and some great questions. This is wonderful. I'm glad that you had a chance to to be part of this, and we'll do it again.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, especially during COVID right now, it's a great way for us to connect without being there, and to also be safe as well. So, we'll continue to do this. So what's going to happen next? We're going to bring in everyone in the lobby, everyone in the waiting room, waiting to talk to you. I know we've been going on for 2 hours. I kind of like our limit to make sure we'll consider it.
Like 15 minutes.
What's that?
It seems like it was only 15 minutes.
It does feel that way. It doesn't feel like we were on that long.
Yeah, you want to bring on one more before we do the blast?
Let's do the blast. So if you're in the waiting room right now, you're about to come in.
Okay.
Let's not all talk at once, but we'll kind of call you out and you can say a little bit.
Yeah, just introduce yourself, where you're from, and
So everybody's coming in, but everybody keep quiet, and then I'll call on you and you can introduce yourself. All right. So everybody's coming in now. This is gonna get wild. Here it comes. All those boxes coming in. Look at that. Talk at once, but
okay. Austin, maybe you can call out the person.
Yeah, I'll call out.
If everyone can go mute, and then Austin's going to bring you on, and you can introduce yourself.
Yeah. All right, Connor. Now this is going to get wild.
Hello.
All right, Connor, you're up.
All right.
Look at that.
My questions are.
We'll just do
introduce yourself. It's going to be quick. It's going to be quick.
And we're going to have everybody just say hi real quick.
Yeah, if everyone can just mute. Austin's going to bring you on, and you can introduce yourself.
Oh, we got a lot of echo.
Just mute everyone. Just mute everyone, Austin.
All right, Connor.
You can.
All right. My questions are.
Let's see.
Okay, cool. Just call on people and just introduce yourself, guys. We want to be considerate of Mr. McCallum's time. We want to make sure that we get everyone on and just to say hello.
All right, let's see here. Let's see, Wendy.
Hi, my name is actually Shelby.
Oh, okay. Hi, Shelby.
Hello.
It's an honor to meet you.
How old are you and where are you from?
I'm 15 and I'm from New York.
Oh, sweet.
All right.
Very cool. Thanks for joining us. Let's keep going down and have everyone say hi.
Where you from?
Patrick.
Hello.
There you are. Go ahead and say hi. Tell them where you're from and how old you are. Can you hear me, Patrick?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Okay.
hear you, Austin.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and say hi to Mr. McCallum.
Hi, Mr. Neal. I'm Patrick.
Yes, thank you. And you're Patrick.
Yeah. I'm from
Yeah.
Philippines, Manila.
Oh, bravo.
I'm turning 24 years old. Yeah, I can hear.
24
Yeah.
from the Philippines.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick.
I've never been there, unfortunately. I hope to someday.
Yeah. I can share something.
Okay.
After World War II, we have a unit called Philippine Scouts that was deployed there in Okinawa after World War II.
The grouping scouts, is that what you said?
No, the scouts. The Filipino. Oh, we lost him. Patrick?
Oh, we lost Patrick.
Oh. All right, cool. Let's move on.
All right, Blaze. Is that how you say it? Blaze?
Yeah.
All right, Blaze, you're on.
My name is Blaze. I'm from Alberta, Canada.
Such a dope name.
Wow. My wife was from Alberta,
Oh yeah, really?
from Edmonton.
Where? Oh no way! I'm from Calgary.
Oh,
well,
nice.
her sister, who still lives in Calgary.
That is really cool.
Oh, I know Calgary very well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
You're near Banff, not far from Banff.
Yeah,
Right,
pretty
Louise.
close. I used to live in Cochrane, which is about an hour from Banff.
I see.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Blaze, thanks for joining in. Hopefully next time we can get you in for a full conversation.
For sure. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, we've just been kind of going in order today. So
yeah.
But it's cool to meet you. And how old are you?
21.
21 from.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it was great to meet you, Neal. Thank you for your service and thank you for what you guys do, Austin and Donnie.
Absolutely. We love it.
Yeah, we'll keep doing it.
Thank you, and good luck to the Flames.
Thank you.
Flames, yeah. All right. Thanks for coming, Blaze.
Thanks.
All right, Paolo. Unmute. There we go.
Hello.
We hear you.
Oh, hello, guys. Hello, everyone. I'm from Brazil, and my name is Paulo. I'm 17 years old.
17 years old from Brazil.
17 years old. Yes, from Brazil.
Bom dia, tá bom? Bom dia, tá bom?
Bom dia, Mr. Neal. Tudo bem com o senhor? How are you doing? How are you doing? Oh,
I'm doing fine. It's good to talk. Good to talk to someone from Brazil.
Oh,
I've been to Fortaleza.
Oh,
Neal, how many languages
cool.
do you speak?
Fortaleza on my boat.
Oh, nice.
Fortaleza, it's near the city that I live. I have been there
northeast
also, as well. Yes,
and
yes,
I've also
I'm from
been to San Juan, the islands 400 miles east of Brazil.
São Paulo.
Oh, Fernando de Noronha.
Yeah, da Noronha. They have a World War II airfield there.
Oh, wow.
And they have an officers club, a Quonset hut that's still there. Beautiful. Pristine.
Hey, Neal.
Nice.
Hey, Paul. A little tidbit. Most people don't know that the Brazilians fought in World War II. They also fought in the battle in
Good
Italy.
point.
Yes.
So people forget about that.
Yes.
So
they certainly do.
Yes, it was the Brazilian Expeditionary Force. They were in Italy in 1944 and 45.
Yep.
In that region of the Apennines Mountains in Italy.
Yep.
The participation, they were a great help in the Go Decline. Do you know Go Decline? The last German defense before Germany.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Hello.
Cool. Well, Paulo, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Paulo.
Hello.
All right. Now let's see. Ina K. Am I saying that right? Ina K?
Oh. Yeah, that's my right now I'm on my mom's phone.
Oh, okay. What's your name and how old are you? Where are you from?
I'm Joseph. I am 14 and I'm from California.
What part?
Placer County, like in Penryn.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Cool.
Donnie's from San Diego.
Yeah, no, if you want to say something quick to Neal before we go, just a quick message.
Yeah, I
before
had
we go,
a
we'll get you on
question.
next
Like in the movies, like all the World War II movies, is it like that? Like in World War II, like do
movies
is it
accurately
similar?
portray? What do you think?
Hello?
Do movies accurately portray the World War?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, just mute. Yeah. If you can just mute. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I mean,
do the movies,
unfortunately, we can't ask questions right now. So if you have a quick little statement or a little thing you want to say to Neal before we go, I mean, we can't ask questions right now because we want to make sure we get through everybody before we finish.
Okay.
We want to be considerate.
Yeah. Do you have do you know any buddies that you fought with in World War II?
A few. Most of us have gone on, but it's nice to talk to you. You're a nice young man.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
thank you.
Come join us next time we go live and we can spend some more time, hopefully.
Yeah, right now I just want to introduce yourselves and just if you have something quick to say to Mr. McCallum, so we can be considerate. Cool. Who you want, Austin? Who's next?
All right, I don't know how to say his name, but Lou. Shang Lu.
Yeah.
Is it Shang
Yeah,
Lu?
Xiang.
Okay,
Xiang
cool.
Lu. Yeah. Hi, Mr. McCallum.
Yep. This
Neal.
Neal. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to
I'm from China, and I'm 26 years old. I'm come from mainland China, and now I'm living in Germany.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Yeah.
My division went to the northeastern part of China. I think it's called it used to be called Tencin and Tsingtao.
Yeah.
And I know you know Tsingtao beer.
Wait, I mean, wait a minute. I know that place. I've been drinking that beer.
Yeah.
A pleasure to talk to you.
Yes. Yeah. I speak German, English, Japanese, French.
Wow.
I speak a lot of languages.
So does Neal. Neal was speaking French earlier.
Yeah.
I have to say then that you are a smart man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
where
just
you at in
about
Germany?
to. Yeah, I'm just about to have a German master degree this April.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What city do you live in?
Yeah,
What city do you live in?
and what I want to say is that thank you for your sacrifice and what have you given for the peace of the world, so that you can see how incredible this international combination.
Yeah.
Thank you,
nice
sir.
talking to you. Good luck to you.
Yeah, God bless you, sir.
All right.
Yeah, well
Thanks for coming
said.
by.
Well said for sure. The freedoms that we just take for granted of just mobility to travel around the world and to learn different languages and experience different people's culture. It's all about mutual respect moving forward for sure. So well said.
So,
Thank you.
Xiang, come by next time and hopefully we'll have more time for you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
All right. Now,
Bye-bye.
Isaac.
Hello, my name is Isaac Bly, and I'm from Minnesota, Minneapolis.
How old are you?
I am 16.
16. All right. Well, let's say something real quick to Neal.
Yeah. Neal, it's really an honor to meet you and all of the other World War II veterans. You are you're super important to me, and I honestly was actually, it's really hard for me to express how much, how important you are to me, and and how
man, we get it.
No, it's okay. We get it. No,
how
we get
important
it.
you are
Thank you,
to
man.
the world.
And good luck to you in Minneapolis. And it's a great venue there.
Yeah, thank you.
Isaac.
No, Isaac, we
very-
understand that
very cool
emotion
for us
because
to
we
see.
get it. Yeah, sorry. We understand that emotion because, Austin and the rest of the BDF team, and when we understand it, we get it, and it means a lot when you start to put it into perspective of what we have and what they did and what they lost. It just really gets you. trust me, I got goosebumps right now. You know, I just like think
for
about
sure.
it, and it's powerful. So I mean, that's good.
Yeah, definitely get that emotion. I lose it every time we go out with these guys and they start telling their stories and we're at the cemeteries and yeah, we get that. But Isaac, thank you so much for coming by. Hopefully next time we'll have some more time for you to get to ask more questions.
Thank you for
All right.
letting me do this.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks. All right, Mike. Let's see, is Mike? There we go.
There we go. Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Yeah, we get that. But Isaac, thank you so much for coming by. Hopefully next time we'll have some more time.
Oh,
Mute
you
your
gotta-
stream.
Yeah, mute your stream.
Thank you for
All right.
letting me do this.
Absolutely. Thanks. Oh, I think he's watching a delayed.
Yeah, Neal, thank you. Thank you for your service. And I'm kind of new to this group, and I've been taking care of veterans for a while, and look forward to taking care of you.
Yes, Mike, and the same here. Where are you from?
I'm located in Venice, Florida now.
Oh, hello, neighbor.
Thank you for your service, and I'm kind of new to this group.
Oh, yeah, you got
veterans for a while.
we got two different streams of audio going.
Seems like there's a little time delay.
Yeah, you got to mute your other stream.
Where are you from?
I'm located in Venice,
All right,
Florida.
sorry, got to mute. All right, Connor, you still there?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Connor, you'll be our last one. You go ahead and say something to Mr. Neal here.
Well, my name is Connor. I'm almost 16 years old and I live in Lafayette, Louisiana. And I just want to say thank you for the bottom of my heart for your service. And if it wasn't for you, the whole world will be full of tyranny and oppression and we wouldn't have freedom at all. And people don't realize the sacrifices that you made and others made too.
Absolutely. Very well said, Connor.
Yes, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
He's from Lafayette, was
From
it?
Lafayette, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a 6th Marine Division reunion in Lafayette.
He's in Lafayette.
The Cajun food is magnificent. It's
Oh, yeah.
beautiful.
Absolutely. I remember when I went to Lafayette, the food was magnificent. Oh, yeah.
We used
to good.
We used to call that the oil patch.
Yeah,
it was the
no,
oil
Connor-
patch for a while.
Yeah, Connor's a good friend of the foundation. He's been really active on our channels and
Day
coming
one.
in. Yeah, exactly.
That was on our first interview.
Yeah, and I know you have a few shirts and hats and stuff like that we've sent you. And really, I really appreciate your your support for sure, and for all these veterans and hearing their stories and keeping history alive. So Connor, I mean, from all of us at BDF, I mean, thank you. We need more kids like yourself to take interest and to remember and to never forget and to make sure that your generation, your peers, understand the service and sacrifice of all of these men like Neal. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. All right, Connor. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. All right. All right, Neal. Whew. That's a wrap.
Yes. Boy, it was great. I wanted to speak a little Portuguese to that to that guy from Brazil, but it's great talking to people from Brazil, from France, from China,
Ireland,
from the Philippines, where I've never been to the Philippines before.
Ireland, UK, yeah, all over, huh?
So it's great.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of, I mean, how does it make you feel when you see all these young kids and people that are so interested in what you did so many years ago from all around the world? I mean, what does that mean? Like, what does that feel for you?
Well, it's a good feeling, and it's kind of a thank you for what you've done. I myself never considered that I only did what you heard me say this before. We did what our countrymen wanted us to do, you know.
weren't looking
But I
for a
never
thing.
thought of it and being, in other words, I don't take compliments too well, I guess. Maybe I'll get better at it. But you're making a lot of things good in my life, and I'm glad that it helps other people too, especially like young people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Neal. Well, it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure spending today with you. And man, I think we should do it again with Neal. Like Neal is like, it's on it. It's on it.
I don't know about that, but I tried my.
You got to answer for everything.
But anytime, I don't mind. I have nothing to do. And I watch YouTube.
There you go.
I watch old flicks, old films.
Yeah, for sure. And once we get that,
this is something new in my life. I like this.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
good. It's
Very
amazing
cool.
with technology for sure. And we'll get you that documentary that I believe Matthew was talking about your division, so you can watch that and bring and check it out. So on that, hey, thank you very much.
Okay,
Once
I
again,
hope everyone has a good day. I hope your team wins. And you know what? Sports is no more wars. We need sports. We fight it out on a playing field.
Yeah,
that's right.
My team doesn't need a wild card weekend, so we're good. We good.
Well, awesome.
All right. Well, we'll see you again soon. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Cheerio. Go Tom Brady. Thank you, Donnie.
Easy now.
Thank you very much.
I don't know about all that, but all right.
No, it's all good. All right, let's watch some
See ya.
football.